Imagine this. What if the secret to making a six-figure income wasn't some boring office job, a crazy tech startup, or winning the lottery, but it was hiding in your spare bedroom, your basement, your garage, or even just on your balcony? What if I told you that you could grow crops right inside your house, without needing acres of land, giant tractors, or back-breaking fieldwork, and still pull in over $100,000 every single year? It sounds insane, but I promise you it's not only possible, it's happening right now. In 2026, with food prices going through the roof and everyone wanting fresh, organic, and exotic food, normal people are turning their homes into mini farms that generate an unbelievable amount of cash. This isn't a fantasy, it's a real opportunity. Today, I am going to give you the ultimate guide. I'm going to reveal 15 high-value crops you can start growing at home, no massive farm required, that have the legitimate potential to scale up to $100,000 or more in annual income. This isn't just a list, it's a business plan. We are going to dive deep into every single one of these 15 crops. I will break down exactly why it's so profitable, show you how to grow it at home, cover the basic startup costs, calculate the potential earnings, warn you about the challenges, and give you the secrets to scaling up. By the end of this video, you will have a complete roadmap to turn a part of your home into an absolute profit machine. This could change your life. So, let's get started with the absolute kings of indoor, small space farming. First up, we have the undisputed champion of speed and profit microgreens. These are basically baby plants like broccoli, radish, or sunflower, harvested in just 7 to 14 days. Why are they so valuable? Because chefs at high-end restaurants will pay an insane amount, sometimes up to $50 a pound, for these tiny greens packed with flavor and nutrients. And the best part? You can grow them literally anywhere. We're talking a spare closet, a shelf in your basement, or a corner of your garage. The speed is the real game changer here. You plant seeds and a week later, you're harvesting cash. Setting up a microgreens operation is ridiculously easy and cheap. All you need are Media Group, overhead shot of microgreen growing supplies, trays, seeds, cocoa coir, grow lights, person setting up grow lights and trays stock and distribute equally, some shallow trays, a growing medium like cocoa coir, high-quality seeds, and a simple set of grow lights. You can get a basic setup going for less than $200. You stack these trays on vertical racks, turning a tiny 10 by 10 foot room into the equivalent of a small field. One single rack can produce several pounds of microgreens every single week. That's hundreds of dollars from a space smaller than a parking spot. It's the ultimate space hacking business. The math on this is just mind-blowing. Let's say you have a single 4-tier wire rack. You can fit 16 standard 10 by 20 trays on it. If each tray yields about a pound of microgreens that you sell for $25, that's $400 per harvest. Since you can harvest every week, that's $1,600 a month from one single rack. Now imagine you fill a spare bedroom with 5 or 6 of these racks. You're suddenly looking at a potential of over $100,000 a year from one room in your house. The demand is already there, you just need to supply it. The challenge is finding consistent buyers, but with a little hustle, visiting local restaurants, farmers markets, and health food stores, you can build a solid customer base fast. To scale, you just add more racks. It's that simple. You can literally scale your income by buying another $100 shelf from a hardware store. Start with a few trays. Master your technique with a couple of popular varieties like broccoli and radish, and then expand. Microgreens are the fastest way to turn a small space into a serious recurring income stream. Next on our list is something that literally grows in the dark and is worth a fortune: gourmet mushrooms. I'm not talking about the boring white button mushrooms you see everywhere. I'm talking about exotic varieties like oyster, shiitake, and lion's mane. These are in massive demand from upscale restaurants, gourmet grocery stores, and the booming health and wellness community. People will pay a premium, often between $15 to $30 per pound, for these fresh, locally grown fungi. They're seen as a luxury ingredient, and you can be the one to supply them. Growing these mushrooms is surprisingly simple and requires very little space. You can start in a closet, a shower stall you're not using, or a small grow tent in your basement. You don't even need soil, Mushrooms grow on a substrate, which is usually a mix of sawdust or straw. You buy pre-inoculated grow blocks, which are basically bags of substrate, with the mushroom mycelium already growing inside. All you have to do is cut a slit in the bag, keep it humid, and watch your money literally sprout out of the side. The profit potential is insane because the turnaround is so fast and the space required is minimal. A single lion's mane grow block can produce several pounds of mushrooms over a few harvests, earning you $50 or more from one bag. Now, imagine you have a small closet packed with 20 of these blocks, fruiting in cycles. You could easily be pulling in over $1,000 a month from a space you weren't even using. The startup cost is incredibly low, a few grow blocks, a spray bottle for humidity, and maybe a small tent. To scale this into a six-figure business, you graduate from a closet to a garage, a basement, or even a modified shipping container. You can create a dedicated fruiting chamber with automated humidity and temperature controls. By learning to make your own substrate and spawn, you can slash your costs and exponentially increase your profits. The biggest challenge is maintaining the perfect sterile conditions and humidity, but once you dial it in, it's like having a machine that prints money in the dark. Okay, now we're getting into the big leagues. This next crop is literally more valuable than gold by weight. I'm talking about saffron. This is the stuff that gives dishes a beautiful golden color and a unique, luxurious flavor. It's so expensive because it has to be harvested by hand. Each saffron flower produces only 3 tiny red threads, or stigmas, and it takes about 75,000 flowers to produce just 1 pound of saffron. That's why a single pound can sell for thousands of dollars, sometimes over $5,000. You're probably thinking you need a massive field for this, but you don't. Saffron comes from the Crocus sativus flower, which grows from a small bulb called a corm. You can plant these corms in pots, window boxes, or a small dedicated garden bed on your balcony or in your backyard. A small area, just 100 square feet, can hold over 1,000 corms. While you won't get a full pound from that space, in 1 year, you can still produce several grams, which can be worth hundreds of dollars. The process is a labor of love, but the payoff is huge. The crocuses bloom in the fall for only a few weeks. Each morning you have to go out and carefully pick the newly opened flowers. Then, the delicate part begins. You have to sit down and painstakingly tweeze the 3 tiny red stigmas from each flower. These threads are then dried carefully. It's this intensive labor that makes it so valuable. You're not just selling a spice, you're selling a luxury product that required meticulous care. The startup cost is just the price of the corms, which multiply on their own each year. So, your investment literally grows over time. The main challenge is the tedious harvest, but for a few weeks of work, the financial reward is unmatched by almost any other crop per square foot. To scale, you simply acquire more corms and expand your planting area. Even a small-scale home operation selling a few ounces of high-quality, locally grown saffron directly to chefs or online can generate a surprising and significant income. This is the definition of a high-value niche. This next one is a classic, but the profit potential is seriously underrated. Fresh culinary herbs. I'm talking about staples like basil, mint, cilantro, and even more niche ones like lavender. The demand for fresh herbs is constant and year-round. Every home cook, every restaurant, every cocktail bar needs them. Unlike produce that is seasonal, people want fresh basil for their pasta in December and fresh mint for their mojitos in July. This creates an unbelievably consistent stream of income. The beauty of herbs is how easy they are to grow in small spaces. You can actually turn your entire kitchen windowsill into a mini herb farm. But to really make money, you need to think vertically. A single vertical hydroponic tower, which takes up only a few square feet of floor space, can grow dozens of plants at once. You can fit several of these towers in a spare room or a garage, creating a highly productive indoor farm that pumps out fresh herbs every single week, no matter the weather outside. Let's break down the profits. A small clamshell package of fresh basil at the grocery store can cost $3 or $4. You can grow that amount for pennies. If you sell directly to restaurants, they will buy it from you by the pound, week after week. Imagine having a few vertical towers dedicated to basil, producing several pounds every week. That's hundreds of dollars weekly from a tiny footprint. The same goes for mint, cilantro, parsley, and rosemary. You can create a cocktail herb bundle for local bars or a pizza herb kit for home cooks. Your startup cost can be as low as a few pots and some seeds, or you can invest a few $100s in a vertical hydroponic system for maximum efficiency. The main challenge is marketing and delivery. You need to build relationships with local chefs and buyers who value freshness. But once you have a few regular clients, it's a reliable business. You scale by adding more towers or dedicating more shelf space. Herbs are a low-risk, high-reward entry into home farming that can provide a steady, dependable income all year long. Get ready for the ultimate long-term investment. This crop isn't about fast cash. It's about growing something that becomes more valuable every single year it's in the ground. I'm talking about American ginseng. This medicinal root is highly prized in Asia and in the alternative medicine market, where it's valued for its health benefits. Mature, high-quality ginseng root can sell for hundreds, sometimes even over $1,000 per pound. It's a luxury medicinal crop, and people pay for quality. Now, you might think you need a forest for this, and traditionally, it is grown in shady wooded areas. But you can simulate these conditions right at home. You can grow ginseng in deep pots or raised beds in a shady part of your yard, on a covered patio, or even in a basement under artificial lighting. The key is to mimic the cool, damp and shady environment of its natural forest habitat. You're creating a simulated wild environment, which produces roots that are almost as valuable as their wild harvested counterparts. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Ginseng takes a long time to mature, at least 5 to 7 years before the roots are ready to be harvested for maximum value. But here's the crazy part. Every year you wait, the root gets bigger, more potent, and exponentially more valuable. It's like a savings account that grows in your garden. While you wait for your main crop to mature, you can sell the seeds and young rootlets each year, creating a small but steady income stream along the way. The startup involves buying seeds or rootlets and preparing your growing area. The biggest challenge is patience. You have to be willing to tend to these plants for years before you see the big payoff. You also need to protect them from pests and disease. But imagine this, you plant a small patch today. In 7 years, you could be harvesting a crop worth tens of thousands of dollars from your own backyard. For those with a long-term vision, growing ginseng is like planting a treasure that compounds in value over time. Are you ready for a challenge that comes with a massive reward? Let's talk about real wasabi. Not the green paste made of horseradish and food coloring you get at most sushi restaurants, but the actual Wasabia japonica plant. Real wasabi rhizomes, or stems, are incredibly rare and difficult to grow, which is why they command an insane price, often over $100 per pound. High-end sushi chefs and foodies will pay almost anything for the fresh, complex and aromatic heat that only real wasabi can provide. The reason it's so expensive is that wasabi is one of the most difficult plants in the world to cultivate commercially. It requires very specific conditions, constant flowing, cool water, full shade, and stable temperatures. It hates being too hot or too cold. Traditionally, it's grown in pristine mountain streams in Japan. But, and this is the exciting part, people are now successfully growing it at home, using specialized hydroponic or aquaponic setups that replicate these conditions. You can build a small system in your basement or a climate-controlled garage. The setup involves creating a stream-like environment where cool, oxygenated water constantly flows over the roots of the plants. This is definitely a more technical and expensive setup to start, potentially costing a few $1,000s for pumps, chillers, and plumbing. It's a serious project for a serious home farmer. But the potential return on investment is astronomical. It takes about 18 to 24 months for the wasabi rhizome to mature, but the payoff is enormous. A small, well-managed home system can produce a steady supply of these valuable rhizomes. The biggest challenge is the technical setup and maintaining the perfect water conditions. One mistake can wipe out your crop. But for those who are willing to take on the challenge and master the art of growing green gold, the financial rewards are incredible. You would be one of the very few local sources for a product that chefs are desperate to get their hands on. Let's switch gears to something that's way easier to grow but still packs a profitable punch: goji berries. These little red berries have exploded in popularity as a superfood, packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. You see them dried in expensive packages at health food stores and online, often selling for $20 to $30 per pound. The demand is driven by the wellness trend, and people are willing to pay a premium for high-quality organic goji berries. What makes goji berries perfect for a home-based farm is that the plants are incredibly hardy and easy to grow. They're basically tough, drought-resistant shrubs. You don't need a huge field. You can grow them very successfully in large pots, on a sunny patio, balcony, or in your backyard. A single mature plant can produce several pounds of berries each season. A small collection of 10 to 20 potted plants can yield a significant and valuable harvest. The process is straightforward. You plant the shrubs, give them plenty of sun, and water them regularly. They'll start producing berries within their second or third year. The harvest season can last for several months, from summer through fall. You pick the delicate berries by hand, and then you have a choice. Sell them fresh at a local farmer's market for a high price, or dry them. Drying them extends their shelf life indefinitely and allows you to package them and sell them online, reaching a much wider market. The startup costs are very low, just the price of the plants in some large containers. The main challenge is the time it takes for the plants to mature and the labor of harvesting the small berries. However, compared to other crops, it's relatively low maintenance. To scale, you simply add more pots. You can turn a sunny backyard into a small goji berry orchard. By marketing your berries as locally grown and organic, you can charge a premium and build a loyal customer base of health-conscious consumers. This next one is for the artists, the patient, and the meticulous. We're moving from food to living art with bonsai plants. A well-sculpted mature bonsai tree is not just a plant, it's a masterpiece that can sell for hundreds, thousands, or in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars. The value comes from the age, the style, and the skill of the artist who trained it. This is a market where passion and patience translate directly into incredibly high-value items. The amazing thing about bonsai is that it requires minimal space. This is the art of growing trees in small containers. You can run a profitable bonsai nursery from a small backyard, a balcony, or even an indoor setup with grow lights for certain species. You're not selling a consumable product, you're selling years of dedication and artistry captured in a living sculpture. Your workspace is a bench where you prune, wire, and shape your trees. There are two main ways to make money with bonsai. The first is to buy young, inexpensive plant material, pre-bonsai, and spend a few years training and styling it into a valuable piece of art. The second and faster route is to buy less than perfect nursery stock and use your artistic eye to quickly style it into an attractive beginner bonsai, which you can sell for a quick profit. You can also propagate your own trees from cuttings or seeds, creating new plants for almost no cost. The startup cost can be very low. A few basic tools, some wire, pots, and inexpensive nursery plants. The biggest challenge is the skill and knowledge required. You need to learn the horticultural needs of different tree species and the artistic principles of bonsai design. This takes time and practice, but as your skills grow, so does the value of your creations. You can sell your trees online, at garden shows, or to local enthusiasts. For the right person, this is more than a business. It's a deeply rewarding artistic pursuit with huge financial potential. Forget the boring, generic garlic you find at the supermarket. We're talking about gourmet, hard-neck garlic varieties with names like Music, German Extra Hardy, and Spanish Roja. These varieties have complex, rich flavors that chefs and foodies go crazy for. Because they're not mass-produced, they command a premium price, often selling for $15 to $25 per pound, which is 5 to 10 times more than standard garlic. Growing garlic is incredibly simple and space-efficient, making it perfect for a home-based business. It's planted in the fall and harvested the following summer, so it occupies the garden space during a time when many other crops aren't growing. You don't need a huge plot of land. You can grow a significant amount in a few raised beds in your backyard, or even in deep containers on a patio. A small 4 by 8 foot raised bed can produce over 100 heads of gourmet garlic. The profit model for garlic is fantastic because it has multiple income streams. The main product is the cured garlic bulbs, which you sell after harvest. But you can also sell the scapes, which are the delicious curly flower stalks that hardneck varieties produce in the spring. Chefs love these for their mild garlic flavor. And here's the best part. You can save your biggest and best bulbs to be your seed for the next year's crop, so your business becomes self-sustaining and your stock improves over time. Startup is as simple as buying high-quality seed garlic from a reputable grower. The main work is planting in the fall and harvesting and curing in the summer. The challenge is the single harvest per year, but the high value and easy storage make up for it. You can sell your garlic at farmers markets, directly to restaurants, or create an online store. By braiding your garlic or bundling it with recipes, you can add even more value. This is a simple, low-effort crop with surprisingly high returns. What if I told you that you could turn a small patch of your backyard into a business that brings in thousands of dollars and fills your life with beauty? That's the potential of growing specialty cut flowers. We're not talking about basic roses. We're talking about high-demand, high-margin flowers like zinnias, dahlias, sunflowers, and peonies. The demand for fresh, local, and unique flowers is booming, from farmers market bouquets to DIY wedding arrangements. The margins on cut flowers are incredible. A packet of zinnia seeds might cost you $3 and produce hundreds of blooms that you can sell for $1 to $2 per stem. A single dahlia tuber might cost $5 but produce dozens of flowers that can sell for $3 to $5 each. You can turn a 100-square-foot patch of your yard into a flower factory that generates thousands of dollars in a single season. You sell directly to the public, cutting out the middleman and keeping all the profit. The business model is flexible. You can sell mixed bouquets at a local farmer's market. A $20 bouquet might cost you less than $2 in materials to grow. You can offer a subscription service where you deliver a fresh bouquet to customers' homes each week, or you can connect with local florists and event planners who are desperate for unique, locally grown blooms that they can't get from wholesale suppliers. The farm-to-table movement has a floral counterpart, and it's incredibly profitable. The startup is just the cost of seeds, tubers, and some soil preparation. The biggest challenge is learning the right time to harvest each flower for the longest vase life and managing pests without using harsh chemicals. But the work is rewarding. You get to spend your days surrounded by beauty. To scale, you simply convert more of your lawn into productive flower beds. Growing cut flowers is a way to cultivate joy and a significant income at the same time. Imagine harvesting fresh, crisp lettuce every single week of the year, regardless of the season, from a system that takes up less space than a bookshelf. This is the power of growing leafy greens like lettuce, arugula, and kale in a vertical hydroponic system. Hydroponics is a method of growing plants without soil, using nutrient-rich water instead. This method is incredibly efficient, uses up to 90% less water than traditional farming, and allows for ridiculously fast growth cycles. The demand for fresh local salad greens is massive and never-ending. Supermarket lettuce is often days or weeks old by the time you buy it. By growing it hydroponically at home, you can offer a product that was harvested just hours ago. You can sell living lettuce with the roots still attached, which stays fresh for much longer. Restaurants and health-conscious consumers will pay a premium for this level of freshness and quality. You're not just selling lettuce. You're selling a superior eating experience. A vertical hydroponic setup allows you to stack plants on top of each other, multiplying your growing space. A tower or rack system in a garage or basement can produce the same amount of lettuce as a much larger outdoor plot. Because you control the light, water, and nutrients, you can optimize for growth, harvesting a full crop of lettuce in as little as 30 to 40 days. This means you can get 9 to 12 full harvest cycles per year from the same space. It's a non-stop production line for cash. The initial investment in a good hydroponic system can be a few hundred to a couple $1,000s, but the return is rapid. Once the system is running, the main costs are electricity for the lights and pumps, and the nutrients. The challenge is learning the basics of water chemistry and nutrient management. But modern systems are becoming more and more automated and user-friendly. This is the future of farming, and you can have a highly profitable piece of it running in your spare room. There is nothing that says summer like a perfectly ripe, juicy tomato, but the ones in the grocery store are often pale, mealy, and tasteless because they're bred for shipping, not for flavor. This creates a massive opportunity for anyone who can grow truly delicious tomatoes. We're talking about heirloom and specialty cherry tomatoes, varieties like Brandywine, Cherokee Purple, and Sun Gold that are bursting with incredible, complex flavors. People will pay a huge premium for tomatoes that actually taste good. At a farmer's market, you can sell these flavor bombs for $5, $6, or even $8 per pound, while the sad supermarket tomatoes sell for a fraction of that. The demand is driven purely by taste, and once a customer tries one of your amazing heirloom tomatoes, they will never go back. They will seek you out week after week. You don't need a giant field to grow high-value tomatoes. You can grow them incredibly well in large containers on a sunny patio or deck. or by using vertical methods like string trellising in a small backyard plot or a greenhouse. By choosing indeterminate varieties, which continue to grow and produce fruit all season long, a single plant can yield 15 to 20 pounds or more. A small collection of 20 to 30 well-tended plants can produce a harvest worth thousands of dollars in one season. The startup costs are minimal. Seeds or starter plants, large pots, and good quality soil. The main challenge is managing common tomato pests and diseases, and providing consistent watering and support for the plants. But the work is incredibly rewarding. You get to eat the best tomatoes of your life, and sell the rest for a huge profit. By offering a mix of different colors, shapes, and sizes, you can create a visually stunning market display that draws customers in. The wellness industry is a multi-trillion-dollar market, and you can tap into it from your own home by growing popular medicinal herbs. I'm talking about plants like echinacea, chamomile, holy basil, also known as tulsi, and calendula. People are increasingly looking for natural ways to support their health, and there's a huge demand for high-quality, organic, and locally grown herbs for making teas, tinctures, salves, and other wellness products. Growing these herbs is often incredibly easy. Many of them are hardy perennials that will come back year after year with minimal care. You can grow them in a dedicated garden bed, mix them in with your other plants, or even keep them in containers on a balcony. Just a small patch of chamomile can produce enough flowers for hundreds of cups of calming tea. And a few echinacea plants? They can give you a valuable harvest of roots and flowers that are known for their immune-boosting properties. The real money here is often in the value-added products. While you can sell the fresh or dried herbs directly, you can really increase your profits by turning them into finished goods. Imagine selling your own calming chamomile tea blend, immune-boosting echinacea tincture, or soothing calendula salve. You can create beautiful packaging and sell these products online, at craft fairs, or at farmers markets. And honestly, your story, grown with care in your own backyard, is a powerful marketing tool. The startup costs are next to nothing, just a few packets of seeds or some starter plants. The main investment is your time in learning about each herb and figuring out how to properly harvest, dry, and process them. Now the challenge is navigating the regulations around selling products with health claims, so it's usually best to market them for their traditional uses and focus on quality. This is a business that lets you share health and wellness with your community while generating a fantastic income. Looking for a crop that grows ridiculously fast and has a ready market? Look no further than bamboo. But I'm not talking about the giant, invasive running bamboo that takes over yards. I mean clumping varieties of bamboo that can be grown and sold in containers. These are really sought after by homeowners and landscapers who want fast-growing, attractive plants for privacy screens, hedges, or just as ornamental features. The business model is super simple. You grow bamboo to a desirable size in a pot and sell the entire plant. A small bamboo division you might buy for $15 can be grown for a year or two into a large, dense, 10-foot tall specimen that you can sell for $100, $150, or even more. The value literally grows along with the plant. Bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants on Earth, so your inventory matures way faster than most other nursery stock. You can run this business from a typical suburban backyard. All you need is a spot to line up your potted bamboo plants. Start by buying a few mother plants of desirable clumping varieties. As they grow, you can divide their root balls to create dozens of new, free plants. Your inventory multiplies on its own, so your profit margins are gigantic. The startup cost is just the price of your initial mother plants and a supply of pots and soil. The main challenge is the physical labor of potting and moving the plants, since they can get pretty big and heavy. You'll also need to provide regular water and fertilizer. You can sell your bamboo through local online marketplaces, to landscapers, or by setting up a little-by-appointment nursery at your home. For anyone with a bit of yard space, this is a simple and scalable way to grow and sell high-value landscaping plants. Okay, so for our final crop, we're going to talk about something that isn't a plant at all, but it could be one of the most profitable things you can produce on your home farm. I'm talking about creating black gold, also known as worm castings or vermicompost. This is, to put it simply, worm poop. And honestly, it's one of the most incredible nutrient-rich soil amendments out there. Gardeners and organic farmers will pay a high price for it, often $10 to $20 for a small bag. The process is called vermicomposting, and it's basically a supercharged composting system. You set up a bin, it could be a simple DIY tote or a more advanced stacking system, and fill it with bedding like shredded cardboard. Then, you add a population of special composting worms, like red wigglers, and feed them your kitchen scraps. The worms eat the scraps and turn them into priceless, beautiful, dark castings. You're basically turning your garbage into a high-value product. This is the ultimate value-added business because it can be integrated with everything else you're doing. If you're growing microgreens or leafy greens, the leftover roots and stems are perfect worm food. The worm castings you produce can then be used to enrich the soil for your tomatoes, garlic, and herbs, making them healthier and more productive, which increases your profits from those crops. It's a closed-loop system, where one part of the business feeds another. You can start a worm farm for under $50 in a closet, a basement, or even under your sink. As your worm population grows, and they multiply quickly, you can scale up to larger bins or outdoor systems. You can sell bags of pure worm castings or brew them into worm tea, a liquid fertilizer that's also highly valuable. This isn't just a bonus income. For some people, raising worms and selling their castings becomes their main six-figure business. It's the secret engine that can supercharge your entire home farm. So, there you have it. 15 incredible crops that prove you absolutely do not need acres of land or a giant tractor to build incredible wealth from farming. All you need is a spare room, a backyard, or even just a balcony, combined with smart choices, consistent effort, and a plan to sell your products directly to the people who value them most. From microgreens you can harvest in a week to ginseng that's a long-term treasure, the opportunities are real and they're sitting right inside your home. My final thought is this: don't get overwhelmed. The key is to just start. Pick one or two of these that excite you the most. Microgreens and mushrooms are amazing for getting quick wins and building momentum. Do a little research on your local market. Talk to a chef. Visit a farmer's market. Then, start small, master the process, and scale up from there. Countless people have gone from a simple hobby growing on a shelf to running full-blown, $100,000 a year businesses from their homes. You can be next. The only thing stopping you is taking that first step. So what crop excites you the most? Which one are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments below. Your home has the potential to be the next high-value farm, and your journey to a six-figure income could start today. Let's make it happen.